Welcome to the Mental Health Diet, a show that dives into the connection between what we eat, self-care, and the well-being of our minds and bodies. I'm Sharifa Viola, also known as Shri, your host, and together we'll embark on an incredible journey of self-discovery and transformation. Join me as we explore the world of plant-based foods, holistic approaches, and nutrition, and how they can positively impact our mental health. I'll also be sharing personal triumphs over anxiety and providing insights into overcoming challenges and cultivating resilience. So, together, let's empower and inspire one another on our journeys towards becoming stronger, better versions of ourselves. Now, let's get started on today's episode, and thank you so much for tuning in. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Mental Health Diet. If you are new here, what's good, what's poppin'? Thank you so much for joining me and tuning in to today's episode. I'm over here, I don't know, so I am recording this. I know I said this before, and I'm trying not to give up. I did before record like I had a little recording of the previous podcast episode that I did, but I didn't really like the footage that much, whatever. So now I have like a new setting, whatever. So I have a new setting all set up in regards to recording. It's not the most comfortable setup. Like, I'm really trying to let me just lean back a little bit. Like, I'm sitting in a chair and I feel like I'm just really just really messing up my posture. But anyways, y'all, so I am going to be now recording and doing this show on YouTube. So I will be having this show on YouTube, the Mental Health Diet, and I am going to start putting clips on the Instagram page. So as of now, the Instagram page is the Mental Health Diet Pod. But I low-key kind of want to change it to some extent. The name of it, I kind of want to start fresh. But as of right now, it is the Mental Health Diet Pod. But I will let you guys know definitely next week. I'm definitely going to let you guys know next week what the actual Instagram page is, whatever. So I hope you all enjoyed last week's episode. If you have not checked it out, make sure you go ahead and check it out. I was talking about ways to start a meditation practice or how to build a meditation routine into your life. How have I been doing with the meditation this week? Y'all, honestly, I think I did a yoga routine. Ooh, did I do my yoga routine this week? Y'all, first of all, this week has been flying. I think I did the yoga routine this week. I think I did. I know I did a yoga routine for anxiety, which was more so breath work. It was a meditation. But I think I did yoga. You know what I did? I did do yoga this week. I did. That's bad. One of the things that I keep trying to teach myself is to make sure that I write it down. So I do actually have a notebook that I write down everything. So anytime I work out, I do have a notebook where I write down what workout I did, how many minutes, and where it was located. So I do have that for myself so I could keep myself accountable. But sometimes I'm just I was just walking around in the house, or it was just yoga. And so when I do that, I'm just feeling okay, well, I'm not going to put that down because that really doesn't matter. But it does matter, okay? It does matter. So anywho, so that was last week's episode. So if you did not check it out, please make sure you go ahead and check it out. It was a really, really, really great episode. And I think that a lot of you guys can benefit from it, and I think you would definitely appreciate it and just kind of understand a little bit more about what meditation looks like. And meditation does look different for everyone. So back into with this podcast, we talk about, nutrition, we talk about self-care, we also talk about obviously mental health. So today's episode, I wanted to get back and dive into the food aspect of mental health and how we can help decrease anxiety. So for some people, so anxiety is normal. So first of all, I will say this is that anxiety is normal. So our fight or flight is normal. Our fight or flight is there to protect us when we're in danger. So if something is happening that is supposed to kick in, because you wouldn't want to be in a position where you're somewhere and your fight or flight is supposed to kick in and it doesn't. Like, say for instance, you're going down like a dark alley or something like that. Well, I don't know. You're going down a dark alley and something is telling you like, yo, don't go down there. Like, your fight or flight is supposed to kick in. But what happens with some people is that their fight or flight is just always on, even when they are not, even when there isn't, there is no reason to be afraid. And so this is something that I've have dealt with for years. For me, I started dealing with anxiety and panic attacks at the age of, I want to say 9 or 10. And for my panic attacks, I used to go to the hospital. I used to end up at the hospital and they would be like, okay, nothing is wrong. But at the time, I really didn't know what it was. Now I will say this too, and just being transparent on this podcast, I do have something called Graves' disease. So for me, I don't have my thyroid. I had my thyroid removed when I believe I would have to ask my mom. I believe I had my thyroid removed when I was like 11 or 12, y'all. I don't know. I had it removed twice, whatever. Because the first time they tried to remove it, it didn't go away all the way completely. And then I got to remove a second time. And so when I was in school in my undergrad years, shout out to University of Akron, gang, gang. Okay, maybe not gang, gang, whatever. But I was originally a dietetics major, and I remember reading a book, and it basically said that Graves' disease or thyroid conditions can be linked to anxiety and panic attacks. And so that did give me a lot of relief. I'm like, okay, granted, I'm like, I know I'm not crazy when I used to have these feelings or just whatever. I know I'm not crazy. And so I say all of this to say is that, anxiety is okay when your fight or flight is supposed to be there. But with, it's so funny, my insulin pump over here is buzzing. But anxiety, it starts to become a nuisance and an issue when you're having anxiety for no reason. So for me, I was having anxiety in places that I shouldn't have had it. Like, I was having anxiety in church. I was having anxiety just in the mall. I was just having anxiety out of nowhere. And one thing that I really learned as I've been just, learning to deal with anxiety is not as prevalent as it used to be. But there are situations sometimes that can trigger it. And I think that's anything, just because we're going through the journey of healing. Tabitha Brown said this doesn't mean that something is not going to pop up. It's just that when you're going through the journey of healing, you know better on how to handle it. And so for me, I've learned, honestly, sometimes I really don't always know how to handle it. But as I've gone through this journey right now, and just in this season that I am in right now, I am now learning ways to handle it better and ways to appreciate myself and not feel that I'm alone. And so I will say this is that a lot of people, especially within the Black community, a lot of times we don't talk about anxiety. We don't talk about depression. A lot of times we're told, that, we should go to church or pray away, which is fine. Prayer works. I feel like just like anything, something that I told myself in my mind is like, okay, yes, I take insulin for my type 1 diabetes, but at the same time, in order for it to fully work, I got to make sure that I'm eating right. I got to make sure if I can't exercise, I still have to do things. I can't fully rely on medication. And so for me, I had to learn, like with anxiety, is like sometimes you do need help, whether that means you need to seek therapy, whether that means you need to be on medication, and even I will say pray. So I think, sometimes we feel like, a lot of times, even me, I was like, okay, this one thing is going to solve it. But I'm learning now that in life, sometimes it's just not one thing that's going to solve it. Sometimes you need support from here, support from there, support from there. And a lot of times I will say within our culture, and this is why I built this podcast and create this podcast, we don't talk about dealing with anxiety and depression. And I'm talking about the anxiety, depression where you're depressed and there's a reason, but you're depressed too long. Or if you're having anxiety, but it's lasting too long. I'm talking about that type of anxiety. And you're having anxiety just for no reason. And so I am a very big advocate on preventative measures. I'm an advocate on trying to do as much as you can before something does happen. So for me, I've been a pescatarian for 6+ years. So I don't eat meat. I'm pretty much plant-based, y'all. So I eat fish here and there, but not really. I never had seafood like lobster. I never had shrimp, nothing like that. But majority of my plate is plant-based. When I go out of town, 90% of the time I'm plant-based. That's just the way I eat. For personal reasons and health reasons and spiritual reasons as well. And so for me, I'm into preventing things. I'm into like preventative measures. Now, when it's time to react, let's react. But I also want to know that by the time I have to go into the reaction stage, if I have to, I want to be able to know that I did what needed to be done. That I did what needed to be done to make sure that I was in a better state than I'm in, if that makes sense. Sorry, I got a little distracted because I was making sure this was recording. But yeah, no, I want to make sure that if I do have to get into the reaction mode, that I am at a place where I know that I did what needed to be done, to make sure that I am better. So today, to kind of go back into preventative things, I wanted to talk about the 10 anti-inflammatory foods for anxiety relief. Now, I will definitely say this too, and I've said this before. I am no therapist, even though half the time I think I am a therapist, even though my friends come to me, my family come to me, and I love helping people. The joke is I always say I am a therapist because I do feel like I am very intuitive, and I feel like I've dealt with a lot. I felt like, I have a lot of good I feel like I have like a lot of good things to say, and I feel like I am able to help people, but from an educational academic standpoint, I am not a therapist. I'm not a therapist nor am I a doctor. But I will say that, with all the information that I give you, I always, like to stress that, always seek like help from a healthcare professional. Like this podcast does not replace, you actually, seeking help or whatever. So this is actually here as support to help you. And like I said, sometimes whether support looks different. Sometimes we look for support in a person. Maybe it's a podcast, maybe it's going to an event, whatever it may be. But I want to talk about the 10 anti-inflammatory foods for anxiety relief. And I just mentioned that little disclaimer because I don't want y'all to be like, sis, I ate these foods listed and I'm still having anxiety. Yeah, no. But these are some foods that have been shown with studies and research that some of these foods can actually help you in regards to decrease anxiety. And if you think about it too, as I go through these foods as well, just think about it. A lot of these foods as well they're beneficial for you. Like they are things that you probably should add to your diet. To make you feel better. And they can help other areas of your life or other health ailments that you may have. Like for me, I even have type 1 diabetes. So, even though for me going plant-based, I didn't go plant-based for diabetes. That's the crazy thing. I didn't go plant-based for diabetes. I went plant-based I should say pescatarian for other reasons, but because I have went plant-based, it has helped other areas within my life and also has helped me, from a health standpoint. So, all right, y'all. So number 1, the first food on my list that can help with anxiety relief is almonds. So almonds are rich in magnesium, and almonds have been, as I mentioned, been associated with reducing anxiety symptoms. And I've said this before, anything in its purest form is the best. So I would say, just actual almonds, just eating actual almonds, whatever, would probably be the best route in regards to getting the almonds within you. But if you don't like the taste of plain almonds, there are also, I'm not going to, well, whatever. I would say there's chocolate covered almonds. There's so many different type of almonds that you can eat. I know like Trader Joe's sells all different types of like almonds, or just type of nuts. They have like coconut. I don't know. Listen, Trader Joe's, I used to always get their nuts and stuff like that. And I used to just eat them like candy, okay? Because listen, I was like, oh, this is tasty. But yeah, so the first food on my list is almonds. Almonds are very rich in magnesium, and they have been associated with reducing anxiety symptoms. Also, too, you can do almond butter. So there's almond butter. There are actually quite a lot of foods that are made with almond butter. But if you really want to get more to the source, I would say just incorporate just the raw form of almonds and just see how well you do with that. And obviously, this is for someone who doesn't have a nut allergy. The second food on my list is chamomile. So this herb has calming properties and is often used to promote relaxation and ease anxiety. So with chamomile, I generally drink. I'm not a big tree. I'm not a big tea drinker, but I often do drink. I'll drink green tea or chamomile, and like when I do drink it, I feel so much calmer. And then also too, tea just makes you feel calm. Like it's just something about tea. Like when you drink tea, well, you know what it is too. I feel like especially with hot tea, it's like hot tea. You can't just scarf it down. If you do scarf it down, what are you? Because you're going to burn your mouth off. You must be a robot. I don't know. But you can't just scarf tea down, whatever. So with tea, you can't just scarf it down. It's like you have to take the time with tea. So with tea, you have to take the time and actually like drink it. Like you can't just like force it, down your throat. Or like I said, you're going to burn your tongue. You're going to burn your mouth, whatever it may be. That's the second one on my list. So chamomile, as I mentioned before, has calming properties and is often used to promote relaxation and ease anxiety. Okay. So if you feel like you've been anxious and you want something to help reduce the stress, I would say go out, find some chamomile tea. That is very helpful. You could put some lemons in it, a little bit of honey, or for me, I like to use agave. They're both sweet, but with agave, it does a little bit better on my blood sugar. Honey doesn't. They're both not the best with sugar content, but if you do have to choose, I would say try agave. And the one I use is called blue agave, so spelled AGAVE. The third food on my list that can help, the third anti-inflammatory food that can help with anxiety relief is salmon. So salmon is high in omega-3 fatty acids and can help reduce inflammation and potentially alleviate anxiety. So I've mentioned this before on a podcast, but if you are new here, I will say that there has been a link with inflammation and anxiety. So the reason why we're mentioning anti-inflammatory foods, there's a link between inflammation. So it's just anything, most diseases, honestly, have some type of inflammation properties in it. And a lot of times that's when we know that something is wrong, is that when something is becoming inflamed, whatever it may be, a lot of times we need something to let the inflammation go down. But there is a connection between obviously the brain and the food that we eat. And it has been shown, like in studies, that inflammation in the brain has been linked to mental health issues such as anxiety and depression. And so, like I said before, there are different levels of depression. There's clinical depression. There's just the normal depression. Like if something, so like if something like happened to you or whatever, that depression is, it's more so normal. So it's not nothing like, oh, something's wrong. But I'm talking about, like, as I mentioned before, the depression where it's ongoing and you can't really figure out where it's coming from. That type of depression where you can't really pinpoint where it's coming from, or it just feels like it's interrupting your life. That's the type of depression I'm talking about. So salmon is high in omega-3 fatty acids. So if you are a person that loves eating fish or anything like that, I would definitely say incorporate some salmon into your diet. Number 4, the fourth food on my list, the fourth anti-inflammatory food on my list is blueberries. So blueberries are packed with antioxidants and vitamin C, and blueberries also may provide benefits for anxiety and depression. So with blueberries, you can find raw blueberries, you can find frozen blueberries. There are so many. You could put blueberries in your smoothie. You can put blueberries in your yogurt. You can put blueberries in your oatmeal. You could put blueberries in your cereal. So blueberries is really a tasty food. The odd thing with me, so this is really odd. Like I feel like when I eat frozen blueberries, I have a reaction to it, but when I eat raw blueberries, I'm fine. Yeah, I don't know. I remember I had one time I had an acai bowl. It's called y'all know what I'm talking about. Acai bowl, ACAI bowl. And when I had it, I don't know, y'all. I feel like it was giving me a weird reaction. I was like, I can't eat this no more. But so for me, if I do blueberries, I really haven't had blueberries in a while because of that reaction. I used to be allergic to strawberries when I was way younger, when I was a lot younger, but now I can eat strawberries. So I don't know if it's like I'm having like a reaction to blueberries, but I have noticed that like when I eat blueberries, like I'd be like, ooh, my body feeling a little reactive. But if you are able to handle blueberries, like I said, you can add it to pretty much a lot of different dishes. If you have a sweet tooth, you can do blueberries and whipped cream. And I always say the rawest form of the food is the best way to get that food. So if you can just eat blueberries raw versus eating it in a way where it's like maybe like a blueberry pie, or whatever blueberry, that's okay, but not really, because that's considered a pastry. And we want to get away with anxiety relief and inflammation. We want to get away from processed food. So processed foods is really going to kick up that anxiety and just cause it to go chaos. The fourth food on my list is turmeric. So turmeric is known for its anti-inflammatory properties, and turmeric can also help support brain health and potentially reduce anxiety. So turmeric it has a little kick to it. I remember during COVID, I don't know if you guys remember this, during COVID, like there were so many like different things going on in regards to ways people were trying to figure out how to heal themselves. So I know turmeric was one of them. So I think I did end up catching COVID. I had COVID I caught COVID in 2022. Early 2022, I caught COVID, whatever. And around that time, everybody know with COVID, like everybody was trying to figure out different remedies. And I know that was one of the remedies was turmeric. So I had turmeric, but like, I don't know. I had the turmeric and I wasn't really feeling it. And I used to put turmeric in my smoothie and I really wasn't feeling it. But you have to get used to it. I know Aldi's also was selling like, I seen it once, whatever. And I seen somebody make a TikTok with it, this dietitian. But they had like a smoothie packet where it was like pineapples, mangoes, and turmeric inside. And so I think I just needed to play around with it a little bit more to really not taste it as much. But when I did it, I tasted a little too much. But I would say that you can buy turmeric in like a salt shaker. You can buy it in like a pouch. Usually it's like in powder form. But you pretty much can add it to pretty much, I would say, anything. But that's another way to really help reduce inflammation is to add turmeric to your diet. The next one on my list is spinach. So spinach is loaded with magnesium and other nutrients. Spinach can help regulate stress and promote relaxation. So spinach is another food that I would suggest eating it if you can in its raw form. So when you get it from the grocery store, wherever you get it, farmer's market, I would say eating it in its raw form is best. But you can also saute it. You can also put it in your smoothie. So you can also get some spinach. You can put it in like a freezer bag and then put it in the freezer, and then you can make like a green smoothie. So you can do spinach, pineapples, maybe bananas, and maybe use apple juice or pineapple juice or orange juice, whatever it may be. But spinach is another great food to add in because it's loaded with magnesium as well as other nutrients. It can also help you reduce stress and promote relaxation. And then also too with spinach, like for me, I eat spinach salads. You can eat spinach salads with spinach, strawberries, walnuts. You can do a sandwich with spinach. They even sell like spinach wraps. But spinach is another food that is another anti-inflammatory food that can help you with reducing anxiety. Another one on my list is Greek yogurt. So Greek yogurt is a good source of probiotics. Greek yogurt supports a healthy gut and may help reduce anxiety-related inflammation. So Greek yogurt is another food that you can eat. Now, some people are not huge yogurt Some people are not huge yogurt fans because of the texture, and I get it because I've been battling between So Delicious yogurt and there's another yogurt, So Delicious. What's the other yogurt? Y'all, So Delicious. I can't think of it. And the one day I bought the yogurt, I looked at the consistency and I literally couldn't eat it. I literally looked at the consistency and I was like, this ain't gonna work. I was like, yeah. I was like, this definitely isn't gonna work. And so, so for some people, the consistency just throws them off. It's almost like it is similar to like cottage cheese, whatever, but like, and then each company makes their yogurt differently. So some of them makes them smooth. So for me, I'm more a person that like it smooth. But I really enjoy yogurt. So you can do yogurt with granola. You can add in the blueberries. Remember we talked about blueberries is an anti-inflammatory food. So you can do Greek yogurt with blueberries, and eat that as a power food. You can make that as a power snack. You can call it your anxiety relief snack. So that's a really good snack that you can eat. And then also too, for me, I'm dairy free. So, I'm lactose intolerant. So I try not to incorporate too much dairy or cheese into my life. Me and dairy are not friends. I love cheese. I love cheese, but clearly we ain't friends. So Greek yogurt. And so they also sell, I'm pretty sure they sell vegan Greek yogurt. I never had vegan Greek yogurt. I usually just get the regular yogurt, but I'm pretty sure they sell vegan Greek yogurt. The next one on my list that you guys might really, really like is a dark chocolate. Dark chocolate contains flavonoids that have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. Dark chocolate may have mood boosting properties. So this one right here, I feel like with chocolate is a little, I wasn't going to add this one in, but there has been information out there that has said, that dark chocolate can help. Now I know for me, when I'm sad and depressed and sad and whatever, or that time of the month, whatever, y'all, sweets is it? Sweets. I'm like, give me cupcakes, cookies, whatever it is. I'm like, bring that to me. So, but we're not talking about that type of chocolate. Dark chocolate, we're talking about the dark chocolate that don't even have like any sugar added. So if you ever had dark chocolate with the sugar, you already probably know dark chocolate is pretty bitter. And so when we're talking about dark chocolate, we're talking about dark chocolate in its rawest form. I'm not talking about milk chocolate. I'm not talking about the chocolate that's in your sundae. I'm not talking about the chocolate chip cookie. No, that's more processed. We're talking about the dark chocolate, and the dark chocolate is very bitter. And I never even had straight up dark chocolate because I know it's bitter, because the actual dark chocolate candy bars or whatever, they have like a bitter taste. But for me, because I know it's a more healthier version than milk chocolate, especially with the milk in my stomach, I usually opt to get dark chocolate because it just works better with me. So if you are lactose intolerant, dark chocolate is a better option. But dark chocolate does have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects when I would say it's by itself, when it's in its rawest form. Now, when you start adding dark chocolate to sugar and cookies and all that, okay, now you're losing the effects of the properties. But when you eat it in its rawest form, it will have the most benefit for you. All right, so the next food on our list, the ninth food on our list is avocado. Y'all, listen, y'all probably heard me before. I love me some avocado, okay? So avocado is packed with healthy fats and antioxidants. Avocados can contribute to reducing inflammation and promoting mental well-being, okay? Avocados is definitely, I would say, to some people, acquired taste. I don't eat avocados just plain because I'm like, absolutely not. Unless I'm putting it in a dish where it's already mixed with other like seasonings or something like that. That's one thing. But with my avocado, I usually put like, I do like salt-free seasonings, which is kind of odd because you still really can't taste it. But I'll do like Mrs. Dash seasonings, or sometimes too, I'll put a little bit of lime juice on it, whatever. But I like to eat like avocado toast. I like to put like avocado in my rice, make little rice avocado bowls. But yeah, avocados is a healthy fat. And it's packed with antioxidants, and it can contribute to reducing inflammation and promoting mental well-being. Also too, in stores as well, as you probably noticed as well, is that there are a lot of stores that now sell frozen avocado. I had it before, was not a fan. I put it in my smoothie, but I am willing to try it again. I think I may have just did it wrong. Matter of fact, maybe I didn't put it. Okay, maybe I did put it in my smoothie, but maybe next time I probably need to add a different type of base, like a pineapple juice. I don't know what I did, but it wasn't hitting. But I do want to try it again. So frozen avocado is available. And then also too, with the frozen avocado, you can also use that frozen avocado and put it in the microwave and like warm it up and put it like in your food. I did that once and I was like, yeah, never again. But nonetheless, avocado is a really, really great food for you. The last food on my list is green tea. So green tea is rich in antioxidants, and green tea can have a calming effect on the body's stress response and potentially ease anxiety. So similar to the chamomile, as I said before, they're very similar. They both have the same type of effect. So green tea is just another type of a tea, hot or cold, where when you drink it, you kind of, for me, I do tend to notice a more calming effect. I don't feel like, especially like green tea with no sugar. So I used to go to the grocery store and I used to get like a cold refrigerated green tea, but it had no sugar in it. And even though it was bland, I actually enjoyed it. Like, even though it was bland and really didn't have much taste, I really, really did enjoy it. So those are 10 anti-inflammatory foods for anxiety relief. What I will do is just go back over the foods. The first one is almonds. Second is chamomile. The third is salmon. The fourth is blueberries. The fifth is turmeric. The sixth is spinach. The seventh is Greek yogurt. Number 8 is dark chocolate. Number 9 is avocado. And number 10 is green tea, y'all. Okay. So yes, y'all. So those are some foods that can help you with anxiety relief. So just think about it this way. Anything that causes inflammation, most foods that are packed with sugar, foods that are processed, those are going to contribute to inflammation. So it doesn't matter if you're dealing with anxiety or any type of disease. A lot of diseases are related to inflammation. So if we can fight that inflammation, if we can fight the inflammation that is not needed, we are on the right track. So hopefully you guys wrote this down. And you can always look up different recipes on how to incorporate these different foods, but I definitely wanted to bring this to you because I think it is beneficial. I feel like there's not enough information about the foods that you can eat to help yourself because, yes, like I said, whether you're seeking support from a healthcare professional, therapist, or maybe you're taking medication, or maybe whatever it is that you're doing, I think it is also beneficial to talk about some of the things that we can do for ourselves. So I think maybe that was a quote last week about control what you can do or something like that, but I was going to make that the other quote. But this week's quote of the week is going to be, do the easy now. Oh my gosh, I should have wrote this down. So I told myself, I'm going to remember this. It's do the easy now. Y'all, okay, we're going to do another quote of the week, y'all. This is terrible. Let's see, y'all. I have like so many quotes in my head, y'all. Let's do this one. Walk into every situation over prepared. Okay, y'all. So that goes for our health. Okay. How about let's walk into every situation over prepared. That goes for our health. So let's over prepare for our health, not get crazy and cause stress upon ourselves to be too healthy, but let's do what we can do to make sure that we have good health. So when times do get rough or whatever may happen, at least we know we did what needed to be done to make sure that our health was in optimal shape. And then if it isn't, there's things that we got to do. We can tweak that and go from there. But walk into every situation over prepare, and that can go for anything, y'all. Honestly, I use that more so like as a business quote, but that can go for anything. But yes, y'all. So we made it to the end of this podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast and if you feel that it has helped you in any way, please make sure you go ahead and share this podcast. Please share it with someone. I know that someone can benefit from this. That is my goal. I don't do this just for me. If it was just for me, just to hear myself talk, I would not be doing this. I decided to get back on this podcast because I said, this is bigger than me. I was like, yes, this is bigger than you. This is not about you. And so, yeah, because listen, y'all, I don't have to get on here and talk to me no. But I do this because I know there's people out there that want help, that are seeking help, and also looking for community and just want to listen to someone that is talking about something good and not something negative, not something that's supposed to hurt you. This community, this podcast is here to help you grow, help you transform, and just help you overall become the best person. So yes, y'all. So if you enjoyed it, please make sure you go ahead and share this podcast. And if you haven't done so, please go ahead and subscribe on whatever podcast platform that you're using. Please make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Yes. And as always, I will see all of you beautiful people next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Mental Health Diet Podcast. I hope you enjoyed our discussion on nourishing your mind and body. If you found value in today's episode, I would greatly appreciate your support. One of the best ways to help us grow is by leaving a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It only takes a minute, but it makes a world of difference in reaching more listeners who can benefit from this content. To leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, simply follow these steps. Open the Apple Podcast app on your device, which you already probably have it up if you're listening to me. Click on the show to open the podcast page, which you probably already have up once again. Scroll down until you see the ratings and review section. Tap on the stars to rate the podcast, and if you have an extra moment, leave a brief review sharing what you love about the show. Your feedback means everything to me, and it helps this podcast to continue to bring you valuable content each week. Remember to subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an episode. Thank you for being a part of the Mental Health Diet community. I can't wait to catch you on the next episode. Stay healthy, stay happy, stay blessed, and keep nourishing your mind, body, and soul. Period.